Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. This week, I've done a bunch of different speaking engagements and podcast episodes, and I've been telling my story that you probably all know, of course, that I wasn't being visible enough. I was sitting in the back of the room, not participating in meetings and not paying attention to my image and being more visible until I got the feedback that I needed to do that. And of course, as you know, I had a choice to make. Do I listen to that feedback or do I ignore it? I have explained this to a lot of people over the last 3 days. It has been really interesting for people to recognize that some of them have been being pretty invisible as well. Not intentionally, but sometimes there are things that we don't realize are happening for us. There are blind spots, or we had a bad experience when we spoke up at some point, and so we don't do it anymore. Or we feel like everybody else is getting opportunities and we're being left out. And all of those are examples of why people might hide and not speak up in meetings or volunteer to do something bigger, because there's a little bit of fear there and they're afraid to do that. But I think back to that situation where my mentor had the conversation with me. And of course, I'm sure she's had many opportunities to give feedback to other people, but I thought that was really great that she did do that because no one else had done it for me. And had she not said anything, I would have just continued on the path I was on and never gotten promoted and never understood why. And I think there's an opportunity for us to really examine transparency and the importance of telling people the truth. Do you know how much people actually appreciate when they're told the truth? It may be hard for them to hear the feedback, but it's important that they do. Because otherwise, they're not going to change their behavior if they're not aware that they're doing something that isn't working. So I read an article from Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he has written many books. 10X is better than 2X, Be Your Future Self Now. There's a whole bunch. And I really do enjoy reading his stuff because it's all about thinking bigger, about possibilities, about building really big goals for yourself and starting to move forward with your goals. And one of the comments he made, he was sharing an article about some feedback that he had received from one of his business partners. And 2 lines really stuck out from that article. So I wanted to share those with you and tell you why I think they matter. The first one is, all progress starts by telling the truth. In his situation, they gave him some feedback, which was difficult for him to hear, but it had been told to him before and he hadn't done anything different. And now that he knew this and had been told it multiple times, he thought, you know what, I better pay attention to it. And the second line he said is, if you're unwilling to hear or receive the truth, you're stagnant. And I thought that's really interesting as well, because imagine in my situation, if I had not done anything different, I would never be here talking to you right now. I would have never written the book and have another book coming out. There are so many things that I wouldn't have done, coaching clients, all of those things. My pivotal moment of hearing that I wasn't being visible changed everything for me. It changed how I started to show up. It changed what I did with my team to help them develop and grow. It led to me taking on roles that were uncomfortable, but that really challenged me and gave me opportunities to learn and grow and develop because of those. So in the line, all progress starts by telling the truth, feels to me like once you know the truth, you can actually do something with it. Now that's a choice you get to make. Do you want to do something with the feedback you've received, or do you want to ignore it? Just like in my case, I had a choice. You have a choice too. If you're leading a team of people and there is feedback that you need to deliver to them and you're not doing it, well, how can they possibly do anything different to change? They don't know that they're doing something wrong, and you haven't given them the opportunity to try and change. So to me, these are opportunities that leaders must take. You have a responsibility to tell them what you are looking for them to do. And I've done plenty of performance improvement plans and giving action plans to people to help them improve and change their behaviors. And we never want to get to that point where we have to go through that. Nobody wants to do a performance improvement plan. And I think it's much easier if we can start giving the feedback out on a regular basis, allow people to hear what the feedback is, and do something to change. They need to understand more about what outcomes they should be driving towards or what expectations you have. And you have to be clear about that with them. You have to share exactly what you want them to do. And then they can actually start to do something with that. So paying attention to those moments in a meeting where someone doesn't say something you're expecting them to, or they don't prepare something to the level that you'd like them to, whatever the feedback is, take the time as soon as that's over and tell them. We never want feedback to have a birthday. We want it to be something that you're getting on a regular basis. When I was coming up in the organization, feedback was not something we got all the time. And you used to get it all during your performance review, which is horrible. It's a lot to take in all at one time. And if you're doing great, it feels good. But if you're someone who's struggling and you don't know, and you don't find out for 6 months or 9 months that you were doing something wrong, you can't even remember that meeting anymore. So how could you possibly remember exactly what you did? So it just feels bad to even hold on to that stuff any longer than you need to. From the manager standpoint, you want to get it off your chest and share it. And from the employee standpoint, you need to know it so you can do something different. People wonder why they're not getting ahead or why they're not getting opportunities. Maybe there are some things that you've been given as feedback that you've chosen to ignore. And I hear about these stories all the time. I just heard one today about someone who had been given feedback and has chosen not to do anything with it. So there are a couple of different scenarios when you choose not to do something with feedback. Is you may not value the opinion of the person who gave you the feedback, and so you're discounting what they shared with you, even if it is the truth. 2 is you may be risking your role if you are working for someone who's looking for you to actually take some actions on that feedback. And if you do nothing, that is sending a message that you're disengaged, you're not really interested in having a career there. The third thing is that you could be risking your role. If the feedback has something to do with your performance and that you're not actually doing what's expected, well, then that might lead you down to that performance improvement plan path that no one really wants to go to. You're sending messages, whether you realize it or not. And if someone's kind enough to give you feedback, whether it's hard to hear or not, at least acknowledge that you got the feedback and you're thinking about it. And here's what I think I'm going to do. Get some feedback from other people about what they have done. Ask for ideas from other people of what they've seen other people do. You can even look online now. You can look on ChatGPT. You can look on anything and get ideas now. But not doing something means you're choosing to stay stuck. I never want anyone to stay stuck. It creates resentment and frustration, and maybe you even feel like you just can't do anything to get ahead. But you have a choice. You can leave the company. You can stay at the company and try for a different role if you want to move into something else and see if it's better. I think it's important that you spend the time to think about these 2 sentences a little bit for yourself. Are there opportunities for you to tell the truth to someone about something? Are there opportunities for you to hear or receive the truth that someone gave to you and choose to do something with it? Or if you're unwilling to hear the truth or receive the message from someone, then you're choosing to be stagnant. You're choosing to stay where you are. And when you make that choice, that limits your opportunities at the company, and it may limit your ability to stay in your role in the long term. I want you to just be very aware of the fact that there are situations that happen. You're going to have those moments. If you haven't had them already, there will be a moment that you have to face where someone will challenge what you're doing or give you feedback that's hard to hear. You get to decide what you're going to do with it. Ask the question, is it true? If it's true, then you have to do something with it. What I would love for you to think about is, have you received feedback and have you done something with it? And if you have, talk about what you've done to make it better. If someone takes the time to give you feedback, reach out to them, let them know that you appreciate it, build a relationship with them, and tell them what you're doing now to address that feedback. In my situation, I could have very easily done nothing, but I chose to do something. And I chose to do something in a big, bold way that I certainly wasn't expecting to do when I heard that. But I appreciated the fact that she told me the truth. And so I recognized after I heard that feedback that I had a choice. I had to do something. I just wasn't sure what that was initially. But once I sat with it and thought, is it actually true? I had to be honest and say it probably was. When you're honest with yourself, it allows you to look at things from a different perspective, a more objective place that says, you know what, I think I have to explore this. And I spent some time exploring it, and it really helped me get some perspective. Because when you are in that moment of hearing the feedback, it's kind of emotional. Take your time and think about it and think about what you're going to do with it. You're going to read in my workbook where I have a story where someone received no feedback until their performance review. And then they were inundated with all of this information and didn't know what to do. And they were under the impression that everything was great because their manager would say, everything's fine when they would ask for feedback. You're not doing yourself a favor as a manager to not deliver feedback, and you're actually hurting your employee by not doing that. So be a strong leader. Don't be afraid to give someone feedback and tell them the truth, and take the opportunity, if you are the receiver of that feedback, to listen, say thank you, and decide what actions you want to take, and then go back and share what you're doing so that people can see that you're taking the initiative to do something different, that you heard the feedback and you want to improve. So I hope this gives you something to consider so that you can be a stronger leader, take the feedback, do something with it, and change how people see you. Be more visible so that they can see you for new opportunities. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.